Welcome to Two Crazy Scoops Podcast with your hosts, Ayo and the parrot Antino. This week, we're going to be delving into topics relating to birds, bird seeds, treehouse or birdhouses, barbed wires on tops of places where birds can make nests.
You are really digging for this, huh?
I am. I'm trying. So, since it's canon that Antino died in the last episode between me and you, I guess it is now canon that a parrot has taken on the personality of Antino. After listening to hours of us converse, it has made its voice almost identical, the humor even better than its predecessor.
Agreed.
And
it's a lot cheaper to feed.
And a lot cheaper to feed.
So can't get much better than that.
Yeah. So I did ask some people if they had any questions for the parrot. I don't know if you wanted to start off with that.
Yeah, that's fine. In any order, it works for me.
Well, this old Antino sounds like a real dummy because the first one says, "No question, just glad the change was made. Way overdue, in my opinion."
Nice.
Do you view Hitchcock's The Birds as more of a comedy than suspense? It's funny you should ask that question because I didn't know that there was any suspense in that film. So,
well, for its time, it was suspenseful.
As a bird, though, I see no suspense in the film. I see it as a good charitable tale.
Of course,
of triumph.
Of course, you would
over humanity.
That's true.
I find the ending quite disturbing, though. So I guess that is the worst part of it. It's rated NC-17 and bird standards because of all the carcasses flopped on the ground.
That is funny.
Okay. The other one says, are some animals so smart that keeping them in a cage is cruel and unusual? I am of the opinion that it really depends on the size of the species, because if a species is struggling to fight for its life in the wild, and it is, for a while temporarily kept in a cage in order to help promote the, longevity of its species, I would completely agree with that. Unless it's a cat, then yeah, you should definitely put it in a tiny cage, the smallest of all cages.
Yeah, there's a lot of listeners who are not going to appreciate that.
I don't care. Cats are terrible. Should judge them with extreme prejudice.
Nice.
Those are the only questions for the parrot. I don't know if you had any, but
other than what's the typical parrot's lifespan? No, not too many questions.
I would have to say, being a parrot, I am extremely depressed. Because my cage is lined with newspapers.
Oh, okay. Okay, I take it you don't read much, huh?
And I can read the same terrible stories over and over and over again.
That is funny. But, dude, I really do want a parrot now. This is reminding me that I do want a parrot. So, I don't know. I might have to invest. I might have to save up some money. So for topics, this is kind of a random topic, but I was reading. So everyone who knows me know I used to work at Whole Foods, and I don't work there anymore. But it's interesting because Amazon bought out Whole Foods some years ago. I think it was 2017, if I remember right. And everyone kept thinking that, robots were going to just randomly roll up to work one day and to kick all the humans out and take our jobs. And while unfortunately that didn't happen, what's interesting is that Amazon also started this concept called Amazon Go. I think it's called Amazon Go. And basically what it is it's like these small convenience stores where you scan your Amazon like a QR code on your account, like you scan it when you first go into the store. There's a bunch of cameras and sensors in the store. So you basically pick up, take off the shelf what you want and you put it in your bag or whatever. And then when you're done shopping, you just leave. And Amazon will automatically charge you for the products that you took. So it already knows like what you have by taking it. So it's a interesting technology. I've never been to any of these stores. They're kind of scattered around the country. I think the first one was in Seattle, which is where Amazon's headquarters is at. But anyway, news came out this week that they are actually going to be rolling out this technology to 2 Whole Food stores. One of them is in Washington, D.C., and the other one is in Sherman Oaks, California.
Wow. Like a whole store, but like
the entire store. Yeah. Whereas, with these Amazon Go stores, they're tiny stores. They're kind of like almost remind you of like little 7-Elevens, for lack of a better explanation. They're small. They just have sandwiches, pre-packed stuff. They're nothing too fancy, right? But to outfit it with an entire grocery store, that's going to be interesting. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. But there are some videos on YouTube that kind of show it in action if anyone ever wants to see it. But it's kind of cool. I like the idea and the concept. I see a lot of issues and mistakes happening.
You don't say.
Yeah.
But what do you think?
Well,
what do you think is better then? You think it's better to have a store without any workers in it, just people who stock the stuff? Or do you think it's better to just have, like, you just shop on your app and people bring it out to your car? What do you think is going to catch on more?
Well, I think curbside delivery has blown up, especially during the pandemic already. So I think that's not going anywhere. But one of the most annoying experiences when you go shopping is the checkout process. It's waiting in line. Whereas if you can just walk in, scan a code, take whatever you want off the shelf, and then just walk, straight out the door, that would make shopping so much better. So I do think that there is some, I think that's a clever idea and the concept is good. My only concern is with no one checking to see what you took, what if it accidentally charges you something for that you didn't take? Mm-hmm. And vice versa. What if you take something and it doesn't charge you? Because both are problems, right? One is in favor of the consumer, but the other one is in favor of the business. And you really don't want either one because the businesses don't want to lose money on just giving away stuff. So, but it'll be interesting. It'll be really interesting to see, what happens. I'm just going to keep my eye on that. But I think that's a pretty cool technology. I like the idea, but how it's going to pan out remains to be seen.
I mean, if someone gets your credit card today and they run off and buy a bunch of stuff, that's one thing. But if someone gets your Amazon, your Amazon barcode and walks into the store with it.
Well, that would be that's possible. That would be kind of tough to do because you pull it up on your smartphone.
Oh.
So unless someone else has access to your smartphone and they know your password for Amazon, so they would have to know both of those in order to do that. Yeah. They would have to know both. So yeah, if your phone is unlocked and someone can get into your Amazon password, because basically that's 2 passwords you would have to break into. But if someone could do that, then yes. And the barcode changes every time. So it's not like it's a permanent barcode. It's one of those QR codes. So those update every so often. So yeah. So it would be difficult to steal that, but not impossible. Yeah, not impossible. But then again, if you think about it, if someone steals your credit card now, they can go anywhere and buy anything with it. So
yeah, that's true.
So if anything,
they can just steal your number.
Yeah, and still do shopping with it. So if anything, this is probably safer from that standpoint. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I mean, it'd definitely feel weird walking in, but I think it'd feel a lot easier to purchase things if that were the case, because you could just walk in and take it. And
Yeah,
it's like you don't think about it. I mean, even using a credit card can be like that, but now it's even taking out the process of swiping a credit card. And
yeah. Because the idea for obviously for businesses is to make the purchasing process as easy and painless as possible. So cash is the most painful way of paying, right?
mm,
Credit cards is a little bit easier, and then using your phone or a smartwatch is even easier, and then just not doing anything is the easiest. So um, from their standpoint, yeah, that's uh, that's the best way to do it.
I'll watch and sit and watch Jeff Bezos go to Mars as I eat a bag of chips that I just walked over to Whole Foods and took out of the
And
store.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah. Anyway, like I said, I just thought it was an interesting story because we were talking about that when they first got bought out, and now to see that. Um,
It's not even robots.
well, yeah, but they said when they, I remember people were asking like, "Hey, what if they bring this technology to Whole Foods? That's going to get rid of all of our jobs." And I remember we talked about that, but at the time, Amazon said, "No, don't worry about it. We're not going to introduce this technology to Whole Foods. This is only for our own experimental purposes." And so everyone was like, "Okay." Um, I forgot how they worded it, or maybe they said, "We have no plans." That's probably what they said.
Hmm.
We have no plans to bring that technology to Whole Foods at this time. So all that means is we'll do it eventually, but not right now. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I've never thought I'd see the day, but here we are.
Yeah, right. But
So,
but yeah, so
cashiers will be a dated reference.
right, exactly. I mean, technically they could already be replaced as it is with self-checkout, but
Self checkout's this tricky thing, though. I worked with a guy and he said that he stole a whole turkey one time by just putting stuff on top of it.
no, you can of course you can steal. You know, that's that, but self-checkout is not really designed to prevent theft. It's there for convenience. But yeah, of course you can steal. So there's always going to be people who are going to try to cheat the system. I mean, that just goes without saying.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, speaking of vegetables and food products, did you hear? I think this is old news by now. You may have missed it. Um, Tony Hawk is teaming up. It says Tony Hawk's blood is being used in $500 limited edition skateboards.
Oh, I did hear about that. Yeah, I
So
did hear about that.
me and Aaron are going to be taking vials of our blood and
Oh,
smearing it onto cassette
that is
tapes with the first episode of Two Crazy Scoops
that is
recorded onto
disgusting.
it. And you can purchase it today for uh, $600.
Oh, $600. Wait, how many are we doing?
We're doing 300, so get ready to.
Oh, okay. All right. You didn't tell me that. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay.
Why is it blood is the new thing for? I don't know. I don't get it. I don't want to get it.
No, you shouldn't get it because it's disgusting. It's disgusting. So yeah, him with that stupid bloody skateboard, and then you had Little Nas X with the Satan shoes as they called them, with the blood in the shoes. I'm like, who thought of this? Who thought that that was a good idea to
Somebody's out
put?
there and they're like, marketing team is like, you know what'll really get people on board with this?
No, yeah, well,
Blood.
yeah, well, uh, considering the world we live in, I'm not surprised that that's happening, but it's disturbing to say the least.
well, well, we know what we can market stuff with now. Speaking of blood, I have a video I want you to get your reaction on.
Okay.
So you said you never saw the exploding whale. Apparently, it's 9 months ago was the 50th anniversary of this video being filmed. Uh, it's an infamous beached whale incident that took place in Florence, Oregon on November 12th, 1970. The Oregon Historical Society arranged for a 4K transfer of the original raw film footage from their archive.
Okay, so how should we do this?
You can play it on your computer, and the audio is good enough to where you don't really need to see the video, because the guy describes exactly what's going on.
Okay, so play it on the computer.
Or Zoom, share your screen or something. And while Aaron is queuing that up, I can't think of a joke. I thought I had a joke and I didn't have a joke. There was.
And you can't hear that, I guess.
No, I can't.
Okay. So
the invisible man goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, "I'll see him now." And there's some joke in there about him not actually being able to see the invisible man, and yet still seeing him.
Okay.
There you go. The exploding whale. You haven't seen this? What would you do to get rid of a whale that size?
I wouldn't do anything. I would let nature take its course and let it decay.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't do anything.
Well, you're going to love what solution they come up with.
Are they going to cut it? My guess is they're going to try to cut it into pieces, because I've seen videos of people trying to chop these things up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did see one video where they stabbed they stabbed it and it exploded, and it was like,
because it's like,
well, yeah, because the gas inside was building up because it was decaying, and then whale chunks were like flying everywhere. Ugh. So I don't know what's going to happen in this video, but I've seen different things, like them trying to cut it up. I've seen them try to lift it with a forklift. I've seen all types of trash. So which one this one is, I don't know. And maybe I've never seen this one. I don't know. But yeah.
Okay.
I've definitely seen some mess. All right. Am I playing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So dynamite it was.
Oh, God, dynamite.
Indeed, the seagulls had been standing nearby all day. As everything was being made ready, we asked George Thornton, the highway engineer in charge of the project.
Okay, hold up. I already know what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
They're going to dynamite this whale, and chunks are going to be flying all over the place. I bet like a big chunk is going to land on someone's car somewhere, like 2 miles away. But anyway.
For his final observation.
Well, I'm confident that it'll work. The only thing is to disintegrate this thing so the scavengers, seagulls and crabs and whatnot can clean it up.
Is there any chance it might be more than a one-day job?
If there's any large chunks left, and we may have to do some...
The sand dunes there were covered with spectators.
And they are going to get it.
Land Blubber newsmen, where the blast blasted Blubber beyond all believable bounds.
9, 8, 7.
We're falling at our feet. The dunes were rapidly evacuated as spectators escaped both the falling debris and the overwhelming smell. A parked car over a quarter of a mile from the blast site was the target of one large chunk. The passenger compartment literally smashed. Fortunately, no human was hit as badly as the car. However, everyone on the scene was covered with small particles of dead whales. As for the success of the effort, well, the seagulls who were supposed to clean things up were nowhere in sight, either scared away by the explosion or kept away by the smell. That didn't really matter. The remaining chunks were of such a size that no respectable seagull would attempt to tackle anyway, and darkness began to say not to do.
Oh, my God. That is funny.
Yep. Exploding whale beat.
By the way, I don't know if you ever watched Hood Nature before, but his videos are hilarious if you ever want to watch one. We'll have to screen it before we do it for a podcast. But his videos are hilarious. Yeah, so that does not surprise me. And I think I have seen that because I remember the blubber hitting the car. That's what I remember.
Where do people get dynamite like that anyways?
This is 1970 apparently, so
you just buy it at your local convenience store.
Yeah,
that was like a Polar Pop and a big old thing of TNT.
Yeah, I love the way that the way he narrates it, like his voice. He's like, not only will we know what to do, but we'll know what not to do. Did you see that giant piece that hit the car? Somebody could have got killed.
Yeah.
If that had landed on a person, someone would have died.
Yeah, everyone was happy when it blew up, and then they could stop.
Yeah, everyone was like, woo! And then they were recording for a few minutes, and then they stopped when they realized that chunks of that is disgusting. Well, chunks landing. Oh, yeah, no. But again, not surprising considering what year that happened. So, yeah.
Well, if you ever have an issue with anything, just use dynamite. That'll get rid of it real quick.
No, that's just wrong.
So, in other interesting instrument news, I found a new instrument to show you, Aaron.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of
Hey,
oh, what?
I just saw the notes pop up on my iPad now.
Oh, cool.
Okay, sorry.
We've been having technical issues. I'm just gonna let everyone
issues.
know.
Yeah,
Tech is terrible.
No, but it looks like it's working now because it just popped up to the top of my list. So
I have a link in there. Do you know what an omnichord is?
No.
So if you click on that link, you'll see what an omnichord is. And maybe you could actually share your screen too on this one because it's a very interesting instrument. It's kind of electronic. It's very soothing, but listening to it is interesting. I don't know what they did to come up with this instrument, but it is pretty interesting. It's not as cool as the barcode scanners. I don't think I can ever top that one. First off, I don't even know, like, I think YouTube knows, so they'll just send me, like, the most random instruments ever. Like, they've ever seen people play a saw blade with a violin bow?
Okay, give me a second. All right, can you see?
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to get these flies running around here. Okay, so you can skip the first part. I don't know what he's doing here. There you go, that thing. That's what an omnichord is.
Interesting.
So I went to a concert one time, and
wait, should I pause this or should I let this continue playing?
Oh, you can pause it. That was pretty much it. That's just what it looks like.
Oh, okay.
Is this something you'd be interested in purchasing?
No, I wouldn't know what to do with that, but I'm sure someone who actually has talent would appreciate it.
So I mean,
it's interesting.
Yeah, I went to go see a band called Guards one time.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, they were opening for another band I was going to go see, but there was everyone playing instruments, and there was this lady just sitting on a chair playing that thing. And it doesn't look as cool as you may think it would in a live performance. Because I was like, is she even doing anything? She just looks... Because you couldn't really even hear it. And it wasn't until I've listened to their records over that you can slightly hear the omnichord in the background.
Interesting.
I think that band broke up because now on Spotify it's just the one dude. I think he got rid of the rest of his bandmates.
You don't really need him with that thing.
Well, he got rid of her too.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, interesting. Huh? Yeah, I've never seen that before. So do you think you would ever get one of those?
I feel like you would go to like a thrift shop and run into it because people wouldn't really know what it was or what its capabilities were, and you could probably get it for cheap. But it does look like a cheap toy, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what an auto harp is?
Mm-mm.
It's kind of like a small harp that maybe like folk players sing. It's kind of like an electronic version of that for our listeners.
Interesting.
I've never seen anybody play one live before, though. I believe it's called an auto harp. I hope it is. Yeah, it is. Or a zither. That's what it's called.
I see the auto harp.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that before either.
Yeah, so like folk singers will use it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I've never seen that. What's funny when the auto harp, well, when you mentioned that, it reminded me of how do I shut up? Okay, I'll just say it this way. I was at a special event and someone there was playing the harp, like a real harp. And I mean, I'm talking about the giant ones that you have to sit down next to, and those. And let's just say they messed up a couple of times. But when you mess up on a harp, it sounds horrible.
Oh, really?
Like when you play it nice, like when you play it the way it's supposed to be played, it sounds like amazing. It was like the most amazing sound. And when she first started playing it at this event, it was very nice. But there was a couple of times when she would hit the wrong string and it would be like ding, and it would just like keep like echoing throughout the whole place.
Oh no.
And she tried to keep going rather, but then she would mess up again and be like ding, and it's just like this, it's like this off-pitch squeal that just vibrates. It was so funny. I was trying not to laugh, but I couldn't help it. But it was one of those events where you shouldn't be laughing, but
Aaron was.
But of course I was. But like I said, when she was not messing up, I promise you, it was the most beautiful thing you can hear. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah.
So too bad people don't really play the harp anymore.
No, it's a huge instrument. It's a little hard to carry around. I've only seen a harp in person once, and it was my friend's older sister-in-law's harp. And like, I was a kid, so they wouldn't let me even get near it.
But don't they still have like the small handheld harps that, like Cupid carries around?
Cupid. Oh yeah, okay. That's what we're basing this off of. Cupid. I don't think there's handheld harps. I think that's what the auto harp is.
Oh, that is what it is. Well, that's what it looks like to me, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, the only like song I can think of that I listen to that uses it is there's this song by the Smiths called "I Won't Share You," and they use an auto harp. You can tell pretty clearly because it's so it just sounds different. I'm gonna type in small harp, and they do have small harps. I guess you are correct. I guess.
But the thing is, though, they sound really, really nice. Oh yeah, I see one where there's like a lady holding it on her lap, and some small ones. They sound, like I said, if you know what you're doing, they sound really nice. And it's one of those sounds that you don't hear too much of, at least not in like, well, you wouldn't hear it in like modern pop music. That's not that's not an instrument you hear too much of.
Well, that sweeping sound, usually you'll hear it. Like with them going, you'll hear that in songs, but you don't hear like specific notes being played.
But even then, I'm pretty sure that's done electronically. It's not like a real harp in the studio being recorded.
Yeah.
It's probably just a sound effect that they're using. But to hear it live, like on a real harp, I don't know. It just doesn't. It's an underrated instrument. I'll put it that way.
I think it's just a pain to carry around.
It is. Yeah. I know. I agree. I completely agree with that. Like, and that's why
if I had a harp, you'd know I have a harp because it's just there in your house.
Right. It would take up most of your house. Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. But I'm just saying I think it's an underrated instrument. And if it was more common, I guess the most common is like more so what people carry around is a guitar.
Yeah.
Or a ukulele maybe. But
ukulele's a cop out. If you're a dude and you play a ukulele, like, get a life. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with my opinion.
Well, I was just going to show you because I had just picked up a ukulele.
It's like for guys who want to play sappy songs but don't want to take the time to learn to play guitar.
But isn't it really common in certain cultures? Like, what about Hawaiians, for example? Don't they play the ukulele? If it's a part of your
culture, I accept it, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I am Hawaiian.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll stop making so many Hawaiian jokes around you then, since I have a plethora of them.
Exactly. I'd appreciate it. Oh, man. That's funny.
So speaking of music, as we love to do, we had a request for us to name our top 5 songs that we couldn't live without. And unfortunately, I like to look at music like colors. There's such a broad spectrum. And all of the colors, some of the colors mix to create other colors. So if you choose to take one color out, you may be missing another full spectrum of colors. Like you can't make green without blue and yellow, right? So if yellow didn't exist, you'd never see green. Is this making sense or?
It makes absolute sense. Yes.
Okay. I forget where I'm going. I really like painting. I think that's what I'm trying to say. No, music. I just think I can't ever say I like this more than that or this without that, because sometimes the things like blues music. Do you ever listen to the old blues?
Well, do I listen to it? No.
Yeah.
Have I listened to it? Yes.
Like Muddy Waters or
BB King,
older than that.
Bobby Blue Bland.
Older than that.
No, I don't go older than that. That's old enough. And I don't even like that much.
I think it's Elizabeth Cotton was one I've been listening to. I do like that, but I have these.
Well, what decade is that from?
Let me see. I'm going to look this up. I can't. I have the Spanish keyboard on my phone, so I keep putting the N's where they're not supposed to be. Well, this is 1979, but she was a lot older than that.
Yeah, because BB King was way before that.
When was BB King around? Because he just died not too long ago, so it couldn't have been that old.
Yeah, but he was like 90-something when he died.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was born in 1925.
Elizabeth Cotton was born in 1893 and died in 1987.
So she was almost 100.
Yeah.
Well, let me see. So BB King, let me just look at and see when he put out his first album. BB King put out his first album in looks like it was 1949. Let me see. Oh, I'm sorry. Nope. His first studio album so he started playing in the 40s. But his first studio album was 1957.
Oh, okay. Well, hers is 1958. So I guess you're right.
So they were contemporaries.
Contemporaries, yeah. Well, she was older than him, obviously. Maybe she didn't have the opportunity to record music.
Yeah, because I mean, if she was...
she was born in 1893. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, it says Cotton retired from playing the guitar for 25 years. She did not begin performing publicly and recording until she was in her 60s.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that would explain it.
But there's like a lot of old blues that I'm not really a big fan of, and I'm sorry if I'm going on a tangent, but without those artists, you couldn't have artists like the White Stripes or Led Zeppelin or, a lot of these rock and roll bands, because they took a lot of that inspiration from them.
Yeah, absolutely. When I think of that type of blues, I think about my grandparents' music, because that's what they used to listen to, the blues, on both sides. So you play any blues from that time period and they love it. And like I said, I heard it growing up, and I liked a few songs like BB King. I think one of his biggest songs is called "The Thrill Is Gone."
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was a good song. And he had a few others that I liked, but it's not my go-to. It's definitely not my go-to, but I do like that song. And I mean, I have been to BB King's in New York before too, which is a nice place to see some live music. But as far as blues in and of itself,
Lead Belly, that's who I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
It's really like just old, crackly recordings, because they were like, I think they had records of it, and then they digitized those records, so the imperfections and the grooves and things like that are still heard.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
To go on another tangent, though, that song "The Thrill Is Gone" was actually a turning point in music history because they added orchestra section, a string section to the guitar, to blues music. So,
oh, interesting.
this
And
is
that was 1970.
okay. So that's all to say that you can't have some music without other music. I don't think you can even have hip hop without a lot of the, or was it just like rap where they sample a lot of music? Like they base whole songs off of a sample of another popular song that was really old.
Yeah. Yeah. Hip hop was definitely, especially early hip hop was I mean, in the 90s, everybody sampled in the 90s, but you had samples before that too in the 80s. Yeah, definitely.
So I can't say that I like one song over the other, but if I had my top 5 songs, I already chose those. But I want to hear yours first, Aaron. What are your top 5 songs that you can't live without?
Okay. So before I give my answer, I just want to say real quickly that I feel the same way about music. I don't have most of my playlists on Spotify have at least bare minimum 50 songs. I listen to so many different types of music. And I mean, I love stuff from the 60s, like all the Motown stuff. I love 70s and the disco. I love 80s music. I love 90s music, especially R&B. And then over the years, I've grown to love Spanish and Portuguese music and French. And there's so many different types of music that I listen to. So this was a really tough question. So what I did was, in order to answer this question, I simply took one of my playlists on Spotify called Feel Goods, and it's basically just a bunch of songs that put me in a good mood. And I chose my favorite songs from that playlist because that's the only way I could have narrowed it down. There's no way I can narrow down 5 songs I can't live without. So these songs are relatively modern songs. None of them are old. They all are 2000. I think the oldest song on this playlist is probably 2010. So these are I kept it recent. So my top 5 from the last 10 years is number 1, and this is in no particular order.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no particular order. It's just 5 songs. So number 1 is Ride by 21 Pilots. Number 2, Talk by Khalid. Number 3, End of Time by Beyonce. Number 4, Lose Yourself to Dance, Daft Punk. And number 5, Death of a Bachelor, Panic at the Disco.
Panic at the Disco. I was just thinking about them the other day.
Yeah.
What a terrible band.
But the lead singer has one of the best voices in pop music, in my opinion. Best male vocals in pop music. The guy can really sing. His name is Brendan Urie. He can really sing. Like, he has an amazing voice.
I'm literally not kidding when I say this, but last night I was sitting listening to music that was playing when I was in middle school. Mm-hmm. And I just felt how sad I was because I had Panic at the Disco as my bands that I had to listen to constantly, and I hated it.
But dude, if you ever get a chance, check out some of his live performances. His vocals are crazy.
Okay.
Like, vocally, he is amazing, in my opinion. He did Bohemian Rhapsody, and he killed it.
Kanye did Bohemian Rhapsody too, so I'm not too impressed.
Who did it?
Kanye.
Yeah, but just because you do it don't mean you do a good job. I haven't heard a lot of people do that song justice, but he was definitely one of them. He definitely gave Freddie Mercury a run for his money. So the original is still the best, obviously, but I'm just saying.
Do you want to expand a little bit about the songs you chose and why? What is it about it that you enjoy?
So, like I said, this list of songs that I chose were taken because the songs just put me in a good mood. It's not really that deep. So the 21 Pilots song, I mean, it sounds really good when you're in your car, you're cruising. It kind of has like a slightly tropical beat for the first verse. If you know the song, it kind of has like that island tropical sound. But then the second verse, it speeds up, and then he's like rapping really fast in the second verse, and it completely changes up the song. Wait, hold up. Oh, I'm sorry. Scratch that. I'm sorry. Forget that that explanation I just gave, because I was confusing it with another 21 Pilots song. They have another song called Lane Boy, and that's what I was thinking about. But no, Ride is different. Ride is I don't know, it's just catchy. It's really catchy. I really like it. And it's a good cruising song. So Talk, I mean, the beat to that song is amazing. That's that song was produced by Disclosure. I don't know, it's something about the combination of the beat and just the way that song just knocks, especially when you have your bass up loud. It just, I don't know, it's just one of those songs that I will never get tired of. So End of Time, when that album came out, that was Beyonce's 4 album. That was the best song. That was my favorite song on that album when it first came out. I mean, I've grown to like the other ones, but that was the catchiest. That song was inspired by another artist named Fella, and he did, I mean, you have to look it up and research it, but he, a lot of his music revolved around a lot of African sounds and African drums and things like that in his music. And so that song inspired her when she was working on that. And I'm also a huge fan of his as well. And again, you just have to listen to some of his music if you want to look it up, but it has like it's like an old African drum beat mixed in with a lot of soulful horns, like soulful. If you can imagine that combination. So,
well, I think that's what makes songs good, is when you can't really describe what you're listening to sometimes, because
that's the best way I can think of it. Just think of the horns from like like that was in a lot of 70s music, and add some African beats to it, and you get Fella. So that's why I like him. And then I like the fact that she was trying to do a song that kind of had elements of his music. So when you listen to that song, End of Time, you'll hear the horns, you'll hear the beats. It's a really catchy song. So I like it. And then I like the lyrics too. The lyrics are really nice. Lose Yourself to Dance, Daft Punk. That was a song that was produced by Pharrell. And Nile Rodgers also produced on that song too, who was from this band called Chic, which was from the from the 70s, you know. And again, unless you knew 70s music, you probably don't know who that is, because we're talking to a younger audience probably. But he was also in that song as well. And so I love Daft Punk. And then that song is a throwback to like the 70s. It kind of has like a 70s type sound to it. But then Daft Punk kind of throws their production in on top of it, and it just has a nice beat to it. And then Pharrell is actually singing on that song, and his voice just blends in perfectly with it. So that's why I like that song. And then Death of a Bachelor, Panic at the Disco. The song actually has an old hip hop sample, and I can't remember off the top of my head who the sample was. Oh, it was from a song by a rapper named Cameron. And so he sampled that song, but he sings the song. So you imagine like a kind of somewhat old school hip hop beat, but then you have like the lead singer of Panic at the Disco. He's singing like Frank Sinatra over this beat. And so you have a blend of hip hop and Frank Sinatra, if you can imagine that. And so you blend those two together and you get Death of a Bachelor. So again, if you haven't heard the song, you should listen to it. And if you hear it, you'll instantly know what I'm talking about. So hip hop meets Sinatra, and I love them both. So this song is that's why it's one of my favorites.
Interesting. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Sorry to go all nerd into the background. I didn't know you wanted to know the background of the song.
Yeah, I do, because I think that both me and you are similar in that we like to listen to the music we like to, because we're interested in the sounds or the production or who does this or that. And
yeah.
Now I have a question for you. You said that Daft Punk, that Pharrell produced and so another guy produced. Do you know what the difference is between that? Because I don't. Like, if I'm an artist and I'm Daft Punk, I should be playing music, right?
Right.
So what does it mean when someone produces me?
It depends on what you're talking about. But like, for example, if you do like the music and the beat and stuff, then you can be claimed as the producer of the song because you did the music, you did the beats.
Oh, so I could just collaborate with you and be like, hey, Aaron, can you make a beat for me and then put it on my album under my artist name?
Yeah. So like, for example, if I said, hey, Antonio, I'm doing this song. I need a beat for it. You know, I got some lyrics, but I need a beat that's going to match the lyric. Then you send me the beat and then you would be credited. If I use your beat, you would be credited as the producer. So that's one way of doing it. But then you'd also get a songwriting credit because you helped write the song as well, because you wrote the music. And then I might send the song back to you and you might listen to it and say, you know what, let me change a few little minor, let me add a hi-hat here. Let me, bring the bass up a little bit here. You might go back and kind of tweak it because now that you're hearing my lyrics with it, you're like, okay, let me adjust it. So that's part of like production. So you're producing the song as well. So what were you going to say before?
No, I said I feel bad because I went a little too deep with these song choices.
Why you shouldn't feel bad.
These are the 5 songs I can't live without, though, Aaron. I dug deep.
Okay.
I got my musical shovel out.
Yeah, well.
And I started digging to China.
I can't do that, though, like I said, because my music, for me, music changes so often. Sometimes I'm loving one song, but at a different time in my life, I like these songs. So music changes. So.
There's not songs that like stick with you throughout time?
I mean, but we've discussed we've had that discussion before on the podcast where we discussed our favorite songs of all time. I think we have discussed that before.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I think I talked about it then because remember I talked about how, like, for example, one of mine was Three Little Birds, Bob Marley.
Oh yeah.
Remember we've talked about that? Yeah. So we've already talked about our favorite songs. So I was trying to bring something different to the table. So those are my current favorite songs. Those are my songs of the moment right now for me. Yeah.
Well, these are 5 songs in no particular order that I enjoy. One of them is Sleepwalk by Santo and Johnny. I always like that song. Have you ever heard it?
No. I'm pretty sure I probably haven't heard any of the songs in your top 5.
I think you've heard it. It's like the slide guitar one.
Okay, well, I'll have to listen later.
Okay. The other one is Any Color You Like with the U in it.
Okay.
But it's the live version. Let me see.
By who?
Pink Floyd.
Oh, okay.
So trying to find my favorite Pink Floyd song is a chore in itself. But to even put one in my top 5, I chose this one. It's live at the Empire Pool in Wembley in London in 1974. There we go. The title finished loading. The reason why I like this song is because if you are going to ever listen to Pink Floyd, this is a really good showcase of all 4 members playing their instruments in a very in tune, in sync, awesome. Like, you can't hear this on a recording because a lot of times they would record separately. And when you hear a live version of them playing together, it's like the peak of Pink Floyd, of what I would assume to be the peak. Because after that, you had like Wish You Were Here, which was another good album. But I guess those live recordings are good too. I just think this is my favorite live recording that also happens to sound really awesome. And so that was that one. I have Changes by David Bowie, but it's a live version as well. I just like his voice in the song. And the song is all about futility of life and all that fun stuff. There's The Suburbs Continued, which is the ending to the Arcade Fire album, The Suburbs. I really like how the keyboards that they play, it sounds like an orchestra, but it's pretty cool. And my last one, I was having a hard time with this one, but I do think it's Time by Pink Floyd. Not the live version, just the one on Dark Side of the Moon.
Time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's awesome. Again, futility of life, all that fun stuff.
Nice. All right.
So yeah, that's my top 5. And I don't think I've talked about those songs on this podcast before. Is there a band that you follow that you like can listen to every single one of their albums?
No.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
You mean like listen to every one of their albums as in every song on all of their albums?
I don't know. Is there like an artist where if they have a new album, you're going to go check it out no matter what?
Uh, that's a good question.
Because Pink Floyd's like that with me. Like, I'll listen to every single one of their albums. Unfortunately, the stuff they've been promoting recently is one of their worst albums called A Momentary Lapse of Reason, which I think is complete and total garbage because it's taken out one of the members of the band that I enjoyed his contributions to the music primarily.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what they're like. They re-edited a remaster of the song. How does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a good question, man. I don't know. I don't know if there's an artist where there's a lot of artists that I like, but what's funny is that like I don't know, things have just changed. Sometimes artists that I liked when I was a kid or when I was younger, sometimes they'll put out music now and sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. So I don't know. I'm not really sure. Now this is kind of on a random note though. This is not exactly a direct answer to your question, but there is an artist who I used to like a lot that their music was not available on streaming services until just recently. And they're releasing her music on streaming services now and pulling it all off of YouTube. And that's Aaliyah. So her albums, I love all of her albums. And now that they're coming back to streaming platforms, I can listen to them again. Whereas before I would have to go try to find it on YouTube. But Aaliyah was one of those artists who every album she put out before she died was gold. I can't listen to her first one, with an exception of maybe one song from her first one. And that was because it was produced by R. Kelly. And just hearing his name now just makes me cringe. So I can't listen to her first album, which I don't know if you are familiar with that whole ordeal or not.
No. Well, did he like produce it and she was underage?
Yes.
Oh, there you go. I got it right on the money.
Guess what the name of the album was called?
I don't know.
Her first album was called Age Ain't Nothing But a Number.
There you go.
And what's funny is when that song was popular, we used to listen to it and we loved it. We thought it was a pretty cool song, but we had no idea that he wrote the song and produced it and produced the whole album. So now with all the scandal and stuff coming out about him, it just makes me go back and look at that in complete disgust. But her second album, when she broke away from him and started working with, she was the first mainstream artist to work with Timbaland and Missy and brought their production like to the forefront. So that One in a Million album just showed up on Spotify. And then her next album just showed up on Spotify today, which is the last one she made before she died. And then she had like a greatest hits after that. But so she only put out 3 albums, but all of them got quality music on it. So
yeah, that's what's interesting when you like an artist a lot and they only have like 1 or 2 or 3 albums. And then it's like, oh, they have such a like Nirvana has such a big presence, but I think they only had 3 albums, right?
Probably, yeah. That would be my guess.
Let me see.
Yeah, because when one of the members dies, that just messes everything up, So, but yeah, she was a classic. Oh, you know who? Okay, another artist is that I loved every album that they've put out was Sade. She's another one. She could put anything out, and I would probably buy it.
It's just, I always think it's funny because, like, people say they like Nirvana, but if you've ever listened to any of their albums, they're pretty much all terrible, except for a couple songs that made it on the radio. But
Yeah, well, I was one of those people who like the radio stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I like classic artists. Sade was very classy. Um and throughout her entire career, or technically it's a band, but throughout the band's entire career, they always put out quality music. So
Oh, speaking of old bands, did you hear that Abba is coming out with a new album?
their first album in 40 years, yes.
Yeah, I did think it was very interesting that they are still writing to their audiences. So when they were younger, the first song, did you read what the titles were for the songs?
No. Mm-mm.
So the first one on their, what is it, an EP? No, an LP. No, an EP. I don't know. The short one.
The EP.
Yeah, so the first one is called I Still Have Faith in You. And the second song is called Don't Put Me in a Nursing Home.
I seriously doubt that. I haven't heard the songs, but I did read about them coming out with another album. So it will be interesting to hear those songs. But
it's called Don't Shut Me Down. I can't help it.
I was about to say, like, I know they did not write that.
Imagine if it was, though.
Yeah.
It's like, we're keeping with the audience, guys. We grew with you.
But the members of they have to be in their 60s at least, right? If not older.
Abba. What's the band members?
Yeah, they would have to be in their 60s or maybe late 50s.
No, they got to be 60s, maybe even 70s. Okay, so this I don't know. This is all in Swedish, but she's 71 years old.
Okay.
The other vocals lady is 75 years old.
Okay.
The one dude is 76.
Okay.
And the other dude is 74.
Okay, so they're in their 70s. Okay.
Man, that I can't imagine.
Because I was thinking like they have to be at least I was saying 60s at least because, if they were in their 20s when they first released their first album, then that would put them in their 60s. But they probably were a little older than 20, obviously, now.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm surprised they even bothered.
I know.
Because they could retire off their catalog and be fine with it.
Maybe they can't. Maybe they spent all their money and Abba just went out of style. Disco died.
No. I'm sure they can collect publishing from samples and from people use. Like every time you use a song in anytime you use music in a film, in a movie, in a musical, on a commercial, the artists get paid for that. Assuming that they wrote the songs, but I think they did write their own stuff.
I'm just sad I got roped into watching Mamma Mia one time.
There you go. They got paid for that. So, yeah, they should have just let it.
The movie ended, and I was like, I do not like Abba anymore after watching that film.
I never saw it.
Don't.
But I remember the commercials and everything. And to be fair, I mean, their music is fine with me. I never had a problem with it. It's not my go-to by any means, but if I hear a song, any of their songs playing, I'm not going to be like, turn the channel, or turn the station,
I used to feel weird walking into Michael's to buy painting supplies because for some reason I thought it was girly. And my first venture out into Michael's when I was 17 years old, I drove myself there. I was going to buy a big old canvas half off. And the song that's playing over the speakers is Dancing Queen. I'm just like,
classic.
I feel like such a girly girl in this girly store.
But Michael's got a lot of good stuff, though.
Yeah, well, this was 17-year-old me. I had a very different perception of the world than I do now.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong. I never felt anything weird with Michael's. Now, Joanna's Fabric, now that makes you feel girly. Wait, is there a Joanne's Fabric out there?
Yeah, or there was.
Okay, yeah. That'll make you feel girly. I had to go there one time and yeah.
Well, I don't mind now. It just when I was younger, I don't know what was going through my head, but I was like breathing, my hands were sweaty.
Mm-hmm.
Mom spaghetti.
No,
If you had
I got a.
one chance. That's
I
what
know,
would play
right?
in my head as I'm walking into Michael's.
8 Mile, lose yourself. It's a classic. Um, yeah, no. If we do top 5 songs or anything, it has to be like some. It has to be more specific. Like it has to be a specific genre or a specific theme to it. Because I just can't do, you know, just any old top 5. But
Well, there you go. Top 5 songs of 2021 with your hosts, Ayo and Antino. And now for something completely different. So, I had a poll. You asked our guest what was his strangest food combinations that he enjoyed, and he said ketchup on a bunch of stuff. So I got the gears in my brain working, and I was like, why don't I just put a poll on the Instagram to see what other people's strange food combinations were? And I think you will be surprised. In no particular order. And I want your reactions to this, Aaron. Ice and milk.
ice and milk?
Yeah, is that strange?
No, I used to put ice cubes in my cereal.
Okay, that's
So,
strange. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Jelly?
it kept the milk cold.
Jelly and oatmeal.
Jelly and oatmeal. I've never done that, but I mean, you do sweeten your oatmeal with something, usually brown sugar or honey or something. So that's not completely shocking.
So you'll try it.
I would try it, yeah.
Okay. Pasta and beans. One of our listeners said it's controversial here in Brazil.
Pasta and beans. I can't let me see. Pasta and beans.
I mean, if you're broke, I would go for that.
I mean, directly together, no. But I think I have had pasta and beans in one meal before, like in one on one plate.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you go to picnics and everyone brings everything, and I probably had like pasta salad on there and chicken and then some beans and stuff like that. So I'm sure I've had that on the same plate at one point. But if you're talking about one dish made with pasta and beans, then no, I've never had that before.
Yeah, me either. But it doesn't seem too bad, doesn't it?
No,
I wouldn't be like,
pasta,
this is strange.
I don't know. I'm thinking of like a pasta and bean salad, maybe.
Ugh. Okay, this is more of a statement. It says those people who put ketchup on their eggs, I just can't.
I've seen people do that before, but
I do that.
Oh, yeah. I typically don't.
Oh, really?
No. Mm-mm.
What do you do to sweeten your eggs?
Well, eggs should not be sweet, so that's nasty. I will put hot sauce on my eggs.
Okay,
but they shouldn't be sweet to me. That's weird.
I like it. Actually, I make like a mixture of bacon, potatoes, eggs, and then I put ketchup on it, and it's all like smushy and greasy, just all smashed together. It is to die for.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. That trash will kill you.
Maple syrup and bacon on vanilla ice cream. Sweet, salty.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I've never done that personally, but I can kind of see how that would be good because I actually had a chocolate ice cream cake before with bacon in it.
Ugh. Yeah, I've seen like bacon donuts before.
Yeah, and that's the whole concept. It's the sweet and salty together, which is good.
Yeah, people go a little crazy with their ventures in bacon, though.
I agree.
Okay, chocolate bar on bread and butter.
A chocolate bar on bread and butter? No, I wouldn't. No, that's weird.
Vanilla ice cream and tahine.
Vanilla ice cream and what?
Tahine?
Tahini?
Tahine.
Tahine. I don't. What is tahine? I don't.
Tahine's like a Hispanic type of like a. It's almost like salt. Here, I closed out of the window. I'm gonna take a screenshot of it, and I'm going to text it to you. Text it to 1-800 Aaron Orange. I think
I don't.
it's a seasoning.
Oh, okay. Got you.
Another sweet and salty type thing.
Okay, and so you said this on what again?
Vanilla ice cream.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen someone do this before. I'm trying to think of who. I don't know if it was Danny. Who have I seen do this? I have seen people put this on there. I didn't realize what it was until I saw it. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I recognize that. Was it Dan? Somebody? I don't know. I don't remember who it was, but it was someone here in Tucson I've seen do that before.
Weird.
And it just seems interesting, to say the least.
Okay. Then there's a peanut butter sandwich with pickles.
Okay. So I've actually had this before.
You have?
I have, and it is absolutely disgusting. Terrible. So one of my workmates was like, have you ever had a peanut butter and pickle sandwich? You already know how she looked. I don't even have to tell you. You know she was short and blonde. And so she was like, you never had peanut butter and pickles? I was like, no, why would anyone eat that? She's like, oh, yeah, you got to have it on Wonder Bread. I'm like, that sounds disgusting. And she's like, oh, you haven't had it. I'm going to make you one and bring it to work. I said, okay. And then I thought she would forget about it. But lo and behold, she remembered. She brought a peanut butter and pickle sandwich to work. I said, all right, well, I asked for it. I'll take half. So she cut it in half and gave it to me. And yeah, it was one of the most disgusting things I ever had. And she was just chowing down on like, when we were kids, we didn't have much to eat in the house and we used to eat this trash. I'm like, please, that is disgusting. I'm like, we didn't have a lot to eat either, but we could come up with something better than this.
At least put bananas in it instead.
Ugh. No.
So out of these 8, oh wait, there was one more. Here, wait. Someone responded late and they said, I have one other gross food combo. I don't do this, but I worked with a guy who did this. He mixed mayo with linguine and called it a poor man's Alfredo sauce.
Also disgusting.
So not counting that one, but out of all those 8, which one do you think was, because people voted on it, which one do you think was objectively the strangest combination?
I mean, to me, the peanut butter and pickles is partially because I actually tried it. And I know from experience that is an abomination that should not exist.
It's a disgrace to humanity.
Yeah. So I don't know. I would say that one. That's the nastiest one to me.
Well, you're right. That one won. The pickles and peanut butter peanut butter sandwich. It's funny because my friend Danny also said he'd heard of that too, and I have never, ever heard of such a thing. Granted, I'd never heard of a chocolate bar on bread and butter either.
Yeah, that's nasty too. But at
least when that one has a chocolate bar in it, which is at least a little bit of a redeeming quality, I think.
I mean, the way I think of it, if you toast some bread and put some butter on it and you melt chocolate on top of it, I mean, that's,
it's almost like Nutella.
Yeah, I can somehow see how you can get away with that. But peanut butter and pickles, no, that should not exist. But I like I told you, I described exactly who gave that to me, so that gives you some idea where that came from. Yeah, that's complete like desperation right there.
There you go.
Yeah, it's terrible. We didn't have nothing to eat, so we had to. Well, if you didn't have nothing to eat, you can eat the pickles, right?
And separately.
And then later on, come back and get you some peanut butter and bread. You didn't have to eat them together, so there's no excuse for that.
Well, there you go. that was the winner, the contestant winner of our social experiment. That was the most voted out of all the votes. And I'm trying to see what second place was, actually.
I think that should be the name of the episode.
No. I don't think anybody would
Peanut
click
butter,
on it. They're just
peanut
like,
butter.
what are
No,
these guys
seriously.
up to?
I think this episode should be called Peanut Butter and Pickles.
Peanut butter and pickles. Yeah.
With a side of blubber.
Oh, man.
Peanut butter, pickles, and a side of
I'll pass
El
on that
pass.
seafood.
Oh, man. That's funny.
Well, there you go. This has been Two Crazy Scoops Podcast. Your hosts, Ayo and Antino. Next week, I am finally, with full confidence, going to say we're going to have the episode with the car guys and the controller, air traffic controller.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I had a fun time recording it. Aaron had a good time recording it. And I think you might learn a thing or two, just like I did. And also, they answered the questions that the audience asked, which they probably forgot they even asked it because it's been such a long time.
Yeah. It's been a few months since we recorded an episode, but it's kind of cool to go back to it. So I think people will enjoy it.
Yep. So thanks for participating. Thanks for giving us the suggestions, and thank you for listening. And I hope you have a great day, or whatever's left of it.
We'll keep you in the loop, cause it's Two Crazy Scoops. Two Crazy Scoops. Two Crazy Scoops. Two Crazy Scoops. Two Crazy Scoops.